What is going on, everybody? Vex30 here, coming with a new video, and today we are bringing another Coach Vex video to you on the platform. So we do these on Twitch if you're interested, Twitch TV Vex30 if you want to go see those live or see some gameplay live, either or works. These I'm currently doing for $15 donations. I will review the VOD on stream and maybe make it a video, just depending on if I want to or not. And I decided to do this one. Thank you to Honka for the donation, and I hope you enjoyed this coaching video. Honka's going to be playing Inara and Platinum Elo this game, so we go ahead and review that. And as a support, I don't just review supports, I can review all roles, but I feel more comfortable reviewing supports, of course. But I've played this game for so long that I have a very good idea about all roles. So I hope you enjoy this video, and if you do, be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all those fun things. And I will see you all in the video. Yeah, if like the only like thing on draft, like if you know how to play Barrack, definitely Barrack with Inara, but Inara is solid. Inara just like sometimes struggle though into Barrack because they have Tyra hate playing Barrack. That's understandable. I get that. Oh, okay. I see the notes there. Grace. I like the build. The healing card is so nice. Stone Bulwark. It's so fucking nice for Mother's Grace. Okay. Start caught. Why is the UI so weird? Is that just because keyboard and mouse on console? By the way, sorry, this is random, but like this is like throwing me off on top. Is that just because it's keyboard and mouse on console? Okay. You do the right thing. You have point control. You're an Inara versus an Ashe/Khan. You have to take point control early, and you just dominate point. A lot of point tanks, I want to point this out as a really very fucking good thing. A lot of point tanks overuse cooldowns. So like the fact that you wall early to make sure there's no pressure on you, you could probably delay this wall a little bit until you I think like here you can take 2000 damage, 1500 damage early game before you wall here. I think you wait to wall for another like 1000 damage taken. I think you let yourself get a little bit lower, and Nara let Io pop her heal on you, or you Mother's Grace before wall, because wall's the higher cooldown. So like I think you Mother's Grace here after you take about 1000 to 2000 damage instead of walling. And now to give you more point pressure, because what that does, if you Mother's Grace and push up and let Io pock you a little bit, you now have more pressure on their Ashe and you start to win the trade. You didn't overuse cooldowns though. Like when you walled was perfect, and then when you Mother's Grace there was perfect. I just think it could be min-maxed a little bit more. I think you can start with the Mother's Grace and like put pressure, especially early game, without caught coming online. That was a little bit this might seem super min-maxing on the cooldowns things, but like I see why you Mother's Graced here, but I think you panic do it a little bit too early, because here you're not taking much damage. You were at the beginning, so just keeping an eye on your health bar a little bit more and knowing when exactly to pop that cooldown is important. The Earthing Guard wasn't bad. Extra self-sustain to help yourself. You wall, make sure your right click comes up. Everything's good so far. Yeah, you just wanted to get out of the grip. I get that. I get why you did it. It's just like maybe you waited. Yeah, I don't think it was a bad thing. I just think it's like min-maxy. Because like one thing on Point Tank, I'm going to say, is one thing I've learned about Point Tank is it's a dance. And like on Point Tank, it's not a fun role. It's kind of boring, but the fun part about it is min-maxing every single cooldown and realizing like when things should be used where. Like that Mother's Grace, maybe you could delay it a little bit, and now you have it for the trade onto Ashe after the wall goes down, instead of you have Mother's Grace and wall rolling. You know what I mean? So like Point Tank is a fucking ballet. Like you are there tangoing with their fucking Point Tank and trying to force them to use cooldowns before you use cooldowns, and like you win trades and stuff. So like that's why I'm very like looking at your cooldown usage super hard right now, because it's a dance. Like Point Tank is such a fucking a dance. Good Inara. Yeah, you're playing Inara really well. Like, overall, you're using your cooldown spaced out. Outside of the small things on the first point fight, like maybe using the Mother's Grace first before the wall, and stuff like that, I think you played that first point fight perfectly. Trying to think here. Let me go back a little bit. I think before this fire, I think when you're in early game Inara with something like an Io or a Saris, I think right here, you hold W. I think instead of sitting back here and poking and pushing payload, you rely on somebody else to do it. And even though you see 3 people in front of you, or I mean, actually 1 just gets picked. I think you just fucking hold W here, by the way. Like, even with that fire going down, even before the fire, I think here, like, once Drogos dies, or even before, like, here, you just fucking hold W. You don't even right-click initially. You just hold W, right-click a little bit later as you're starting to get hit, min-max that, and just fucking get in their face and be a bully here. I think here's a prime opportunity for you to get off point and start bullying people. Because somebody else can deal with payload, right? You just let somebody else get on that shit. You go bully people. Early game Inara is so strong as an aggressive tank. You can legitimately just walk at people and create so much space. Like here, if you just walk at the Ashe, she is so pressured because she's already half and they're losing 1. So but finding those opportunities early game so important on Inara. Even though your team is still doing well here. Like I don't think it would have hurt. I don't think like it hurt what you did. I just think you could have done it you could have done it better. And you could have made like a really, really good play. The perfect play is that just take space there. Great wall. Great. I like the Mother's Grace there. Even though you're stacking it with your wall, I think it's perfect because how low you were. And then you sit back, reset, cooldowns, wait for heals. It looks like a lifelink IO too. One thing I didn't notice first point, but like always knowing where dog is and paying attention and maybe like doing a flick back every so often to see where your heal spot is super important when playing with something like that. I like this. I like this. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier. You just pop that Mother's Grace and you push. I like that ulti. Your team follows up on it. You have an Eevee, so perfect. Fucking really nice play so far, actually. Holy shit. Like, this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. Like, I even think you could have went even more aggressive. Like, I think you fucking get in this Ashe's face, stay in her face, and then push across. But, like, your ulti here was kind of, like, did the same effect. Oh, be careful about this. One thing with an Inara ult, you might have put it to the right of the wall here. Sorry, this is something super small, Honka. But be very careful with the Inara ult, because if you hit the right of the wall, because there's a little crevice here, if you put it in this crevice, those on the left aren't going to get stunned. So make sure you try to put it in the most forward-facing area, if that makes sense. Just be careful about that. It's the same thing with like Damba ults and stuff. Because I actually don't think they got stunned back there. And if you put that ult a little bit to the left, it would have stunned. So just be careful about stuff like that. It's the same thing with like any line of sight ultis. Yeah. I think it's only because you put it in that crevice. So like just keep an eye out for that. Here, after that ulti, instead of shooting the Drogos, which I get why you are, I think you just hold W a little bit. I think you go take space. You go take the left side specifically. Let me see if you do it here. You're looking out for the flank. You're watching for your support. Make sure your support's. That's okay. But, like, I think you just get off payload and hold W here and get in their spawn, get in their face, and not just stay on point. Because right now in this push, you've stayed on point for a while, and I think you could be doing more to help your team. So I don't know if they actually need it, but you could be doing more here for sure. Again, that's because I could hear conflict. Okay, gotcha. So let me listen to the sound. Yeah, I see why you're doing it. I just think you ignore that and just realize that it's a 1-for-1 trade and they're both now out of the fight and you just hold W. I see what you're saying though. I see why you're looking back. I just think it's more worth it to look forward and like worry about what's in front of you just because you're an Inara. You're not somebody who can quickly react. I like this aggression on Ashe. That's good simple aggression that put pressure on her. But yeah, the big thing I saw in point fight was a little bit of min-max cooldowns and then fucking on the push. Ooh. You go caught 3 here, 100%. I don't know if you do, but you 100% go caught 3 here. Yeah. I'm glad you went caught 3. You were thinking about not going it. What was your idea, Honka? What was your idea by, I wanted to know your thought process about not going caught 3 there. And then I'll explain my thought process about going caught 3, which you ended up doing, but unless you don't remember why you were thinking about something else. She's underrated. I think Inara is one of the best, if not the best, early game bullies in the game because of Mother's Grace alone. Any thought about rejuve? I just went caught 3. Okay, gotcha. Caught 3, early game, getting caught 3 online first is so important because, let me see here. Does their Ashe get caught 3 here? No, they don't have any caught 3. So now you are just winning the trade on point because you have caught 3 and they can't get as much healing. And they have a Genos healer. I mean, that's also an issue. Caught 3 is so important on point tanks. So getting that caught 3 was very smart. Here you're not popping anything. There's no reason to be popping anything, which I like. You haven't popped anything. You popped the right click there first. Perfect. You're trading with Tyre, which is okay. Use the wall. You get out perfectly. You have 1200 health. That was a great kite back. Now you're going to help your team. I actually like this play. You see your support in trouble and you go to help your support. You're nothing as a main tank without that support. So helping them with support is a great play there. I like that. I like that a lot. And I think you probably heard the Ashe, right? You know Io's, yeah. Very fucking good play here. You fell back with perfect timing too. Like you had 1300 health. I think that's where you usually should be falling back. You should be getting out of like combat at 13 to 1000 health. Khan's running towards, so I stayed back to see if it would flank her. Yeah. You're taking really good care of your support, which I love seeing. Your ROM is straight throwing right now, by the way, Honka. Like, I don't understand what this guy is doing and like what his thought process is, but he needs to be doing something else. Okay, you wall there. So you can kite back. You know ROM's dead. You know you're at a disadvantage. That was another Earthen Guard that I don't think needed to be used, but we'll see if it impacts. You're going to have it in time for the touch for OT, which is important. Oh, yeah. That's one thing you'll have to think about. You have to think about against Ashe on point, just popping it early, just for the knockback if you're trying to touch for OT. But I'm sure you realize that. I'm 100% sure you realize that watching it. If you're ever playing against an Ashe, or if you're ever playing like retake as an Inara or anybody, and you know it's an Ashe or something with CC, you have to pop your CC immune against her, or else she just wins, right? And I'm sure you realize that by watching it alone. The fire, that's brutal. That's a brutal fire. Nice. She had to reload. You punished her for it. Nice. You played that point fight super well. Your point fights are actually really clean. I'm not going to lie. 3-0? And how long is this, VOD? Oh my goodness. So this game goes 3-1, 3-2, 3-3, doesn't it? Holy shit. That's when your IO's going to start falling off, though. That's when they're going to get caught threes. So I can understand why this game doesn't go, why it doesn't snowball. Nice. IO's under pressure. Yeah. You know IO's dead, so there's no reason to keep pushing. Perfect. Okay, you're only gold plat? You're playing this like a diamond level player. Like, honestly. A lot of the times there's major issues, but a lot of it's minor. Well, the only major issue was you have to be taking more space on pushes rather than sitting payload. That's why supports sit payload, because tanks take space and keep them zoned off. That is like the only major issue so far. 4v4, pop DR, nice. Go for the trades, great stun by IO. Nice. You went for the wall there. That was a good wall. Nice job dropping it early, too. Make sure you get the cooldown up as soon as possible. You're hitting your shots. Nice. Isn't this good? I mean, your Inara mechanics are solid. Like, your overall, like, mechanical point tank play, though, is, like, what's really good here. Great wall. Just zone them off. Make sure you can fully get out. Reset for IO healing. Here, you should be looking for the dog. You should be knowing where the dog is here and using the dog. You should go top left right now and use the dog for healing. So IO doesn't have to put pressure on you or use resources on you when she doesn't have to. So just keep that in mind when you're playing with a lifelink healer. Oh, nice try. Walls can be finicking sometimes. Did you overextend a bit? Let me see. I like the pressure here in the Tyrant. Eevee's dead. Rom's dead. Nah. You didn't exactly overextend. I think you needed to die there. I think that's fine. You had 2 people die and you were trying to create space. I think, like, there's not much you can do there. Push failed. One thing some point tanks do, which I like somewhat believe in, is getting a master riding early. Just so you can initial cap time and you can dismount their main tank. Like I said, point tanks are a game of min-max, right? So what a lot of point tanks like doing here is buying master riding. I think the Chronos buy is okay, but I don't dislike the Chronos buy on Inara, but I actually think it'll do more overall than the master riding. So like, I don't dislike it, but another idea is going master riding here. And a lot of point tanks like going master riding for the pure fact of you can get to point first. You can dismount their point tank and initially take trades, and you get initial point cap. So there's a lot of things you get by just buying 1 level of master riding. You get like 6% or something extra poke and extra damage. I like the rejuve buy though for the IO. I strongly believe in rejuve on tanks right now for supports. Here you should be. Oh, okay, you know the Drogo Assault's coming out. Okay, hold on. Let me hear when it started coming out. See if it's when you kited back.
Even trying?
Oh, your audio's fine now. Listen to your audio.
None of these guys ever drop anything good. Watch this spot. Enemies in the sky.
So here, I mean, you missed a little bit of point cap, but you thought about the wall too late. Yeah. It could have saved you actually, because how far he ulted from. One thing you could do here, do you know about the Inara tech where you're walking forward and as long as you're moving at full speed, you look down, your wall will go behind you instead of in front of you. Do you know about that, Honka? Because that's something you could have done there. Instead of looking for him, you could have played off sound and knew he was coming. Right here, look to the right, look down and wall and go over the wall. And what that could have done, even if, right? Even if the Drogos does kill you, he now has a wall to thrust over. Well, I actually don't think an wall persists, but it could have gave you extra time because how far away he was. I do know about it. I just never think about it. Okay, it's just something to think about and maybe go in the training range and just making sure you know how to do, because it is a very good wall, so you can keep your momentum instead of trying to wall backwards. So a lot of the times it's better just to walk forward and wall at your feet as long as you're not slowed or they don't have a champion that can slow you. I do this all the time too, but you spent a lot of time just staring at the Drogos and wondering if he was going to hit you. As a point tank, you should just assume he's going to hit you and do everything in your your capabilities to stay alive for as long as you can and force him to waste even more duration. I do that shit all the time though, where I watch Drogos ulti thinking, is he going to hit me? Is he going to hit me? And then I react too late. I think a lot of the time, especially on point tank, it's better to just assume he's going to hit you. Your IO's dead here, so you realize she's dead. You put some pressure on them with Mother's Grace. You realize you're not going to get healing, and you back up. Very good cripple. I like that. Yeah, at some point there, you definitely have to fall back and just stop trading. I think right after this grip, even with the Mother's Grace, you have 2,000 health, and you don't know where your IO is, so you don't trade. Or the even better play here is stopping right here. Your mistake here really was pushing past this corner, because as soon as you push past this corner, you open yourself up to other people looking at you, and you're not just trading with Khan. You're now looking. 3 people are looking at you. One thing I'm thinking about. Hold on. Was your idea here maybe trying to go to touch? Because at some point, this is super min-maxy. But at some point, after your IO comes up, you have to be looking left and seeing how close she is. And you have to make a decision if you're going to touch or not. Here, it seems like you hesitated. Like you wanted to touch, but then you didn't, then you backed up. And that's what got you killed. And now they cap point, and their tanks take a ton of space because you are dead. Sometimes, don't know why you just didn't retreat here. Yeah, right there would have just been the play to fall back and wait. If you don't cap, that's okay. They have comeback mechanic, and now you have a more advantageous position for the retake or for their push. So they ended up not capping somehow. You guys touched. Weird champ, but yeah, you should have just fell back there or stayed behind the wall. I definitely get the idea of touching, but your team just loses that. If you touch anyway, you're gonna die. So you might as well. Sometimes you have to make the sacrifice of losing a point to get a really good spot on defense. Use your ult more often, yeah. Like here, you could just use it. Right here, you, yeah. Right here, you 100% should be using it, yeah. Where's your IO at? Where's your IO at this whole time? She's healing you. I guess she jumps away now. She puts dog behind. You don't get a right click for a while. The only thing I'm seeing right now overall throughout this game is you need to be looking for your healer more and trying to give them line of sight. Learning how to very quickly flick and identify something is important, especially at this. Okay, this is a lesson for not just main tanks, but every single role in the fucking game. You have to be turning around and looking at your support more often. Even if you're under pressured like there, sometimes like just looking back at the support, it could have gave you a heal because you would have peeked out wide or short to give them line of sight. Because maybe she was trying to heal you or get to you. But that's one thing you could try to do more often is just being more aware of where your support is at all times. And just like quickly flicking behind you. I don't know what your sense is, but like my sense is high. So like flicking behind me sucks, but it's something I try to do often. It's hard, but I try to do it often so I can get heals more. And it'll help you get more heals. I like this play very much so. Very good play there. Let's see. You identify here, Genos is low, Eevee's playing aggressive. You make the play to just push down. You see they're both low, you drop, you get the kill. Super good aggressive play here. Nice wall. Might have been a bit too far back, but the idea behind the wall is like super good. Narmane's never ult. Yeah, Inara's a weird one to ult with because it's very telegraphed. Inara ult's very hard to get value from for some reason. But that's one thing I would definitely work on, is looking back at your support and like knowing at all times where the support is. 15 game, okay. 12 vulnerable and Inara, yeah. So you have a very high sense. Double cooldown usage. The only time double cooldown usage is allowed and required is when you're that low. So most of this time though, most of the time you're playing, you're spacing out your cooldowns, which is so fucking important on Inara and all main tanks in general, especially on Inara. Nice. I think once you realize, right here, once you realize you turn, you see your IO to your right. Now, you should know IO's right there. I think you just fucking hold W up ramp. You have Earthen Guard going. I think you run at these guys. I think you put some pressure on them. Your wall's coming up. You end up doing it a little bit. Right here, you do this a lot. You're trying to hit Drogos when he's low. Don't do that. It's not worth it. Just hit point tanks. Shields up. You take another extra shot. Yeah, I mean, the second shots, you could have swapped to Ashe, but it wasn't that big of a deal, honestly. That's just a min-max thing. Just a slight min-max thing. Yeah, I think the one area you have to improve on so far is finding more aggression with Inara. Min-max. Min-max means doing things perfectly. When you're min-maxing something, you are getting the most output out of something that you can. So if you're min-maxing here, to give you an example what it means, right here, these first shots on Drogos, great. Great, right here, shields up. Right now, you switch to Ashe because the damage on Drogos is irrelevant at this point, but Ashe is the one who has to touch, and now you're getting her 3 extra pebbles to get her low enough to kill when she touches point, which she dies anyway, but that's like a min-max situation. That's what min-maxing means. But yeah. The one place you need to improve on so far is finding more aggression on pushes and defenses with Inara using her right click. I think you should definitely be getting in their face more and playing a bit more aggressive. You have shown instances of it, but it's not a consistent thing, and there's been more times where you can do it, especially early game. Yeah, that's perfect exact definition. Getting the maximum amount of value using the least resources.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wait, can you just not decide what to buy here? I assume. I assume you want to wait either one, you want to wait for Chronos 3, or 2, you're not sure what you want to get. I think you just go for Rejuve 3 here. I think if you don't know, you just go for Rejuve 3 because how expensive Chronos 3 is. I don't think you wait on Chronos 3 as a point tank or even a Inara. I think you just go for the cheaper options. Like you get Rejuve 3, which is 450, and a Master Riding here. Like 1000% what you do here is you go Rejuve 3 Master Riding. Or you go Resi 2. Because there's been a lot of times that you have had to use cooldowns to get out of a grip. So that grip is annoying for you. You buy Resi, you save cooldowns. What happened to the HUD? I think it's just because playing on keyboard and mouse on a PS4. Hydrate, I got you. But I think you go Resi 2 here, actually, rather than Master Riding. Because it'll save you cooldown usage, because how many times you've had to use Mother's Grace to get out of it.
2, 1. Help. As you wish.
Coach 30? Yeah, Coach 30. Yeah, so, okay. It's kind of like buying Caught on Willow. It doesn't make sense, but practically, against some, like, you have to realize that Mother's Grace is a 4-second duration, 8-second cooldown, and it doesn't start going cooldown until. During that 8 seconds of downtime, you are now completely susceptible to CC unless you're using your ult to counter-ult it. And there's CC like Genoscript, like their Genoscripts, for instance. Now you have to use your Mother's Grace and get no value out of that 12-second, or 8-second, I mean, with Chronos, it's more like 6.5, but, or 6.8, I don't, whatever, not important. You're now using that cooldown and not getting the maximum amount of value. So yeah, buying Resi, and it's just like the same idea of buying Caught on Willow, which people don't do, which I understand, but you should be buying Caught on Willow most of the time. And maybe you can start Chronos or something, but you should be buying Caught. Honestly, you could have started Caught Resi here. That's something you could have done, and that's a start that some people like to do, is a Caught Resi. And it's definitely value against Grip Genos. Exactly what Check's saying. Check is definitely right on that one, Honka. It just saves your cooldown pretty much. I like that right click. You just get a very important trade on Ashe. Wait, I need to rewatch this. Why are you over here in the first place? This isn't bad. Like, so, okay. Okay, this is another teaching moments. As a point tank, you should not always be going to point, especially when you are not winning the fight. At some point, you have to realize you have to change something up. You're going to have to change something up and do something differently, right? To win that next point fight. So maybe you have this. Maybe the reason why you're on the right side, big raid. Yeah. I'll hold on. Maybe you're going to that right side because that's your thought process, but it should be your thought process. Last point did not work. I went to point. Let me change something up and see if we can win. So that's a very important mentality to have. And you going right side is fine and not going to point. Yo, Z1, how's your stream, buddy? How was your stream, my guy? Yo, welcome. We're doing coaching VODs right now. I got one here, Inara, and then we're going to do a Domba one next for check. So that's what we're doing currently. We're doing coaching VODs and helping our viewers out. Exclamation point coach in chat for that if you're interested in it. Yo, welcome Z1's viewers. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. We are currently doing a subathon, as you can see right here. It's our total subs, exclamation point sub as well. Boom, 2 hours, 30 minutes left. I've been going for 2 hours, 30 minutes, so God bless subathons. But yeah, I think your switch up here was good. I initially want to figure out why you did it though, because I wonder if this was your thought process. Your thought process, let me just go help the team this time. And that's kind of a question for you, Honka. Oh, your IO's dead. That's unfortunate. Could you have done more to help her there? You see she's under pressure. You try to go help her. She puts herself in a bad position by going forward instead of backwards. You couldn't have really done any more. Penalty down. Now you just run. You just get the fuck out or you run to point. Yeah. 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 There you go. Perfect. Fucking perfect. You go to point. Beautiful play. Even if you don't kill Ash here, that was the perfect play to do. But here you probably should just die. Yeah. Oh my god, are you gonna live? I guess you're gonna live here. Okay. I'm surprised you live, I'm not gonna lie. Why did Genos not push you? Is he a little baby? Where was Genos? Hello? Oh, Genos went full babby mode. He just sat on point. He definitely could have killed you if he pushed you here. So like, in a perfect play, that Genos pushes you and kills you. So, you just stay on point and you die on point, I think. But the fact that you lived there was sick. But if a good Genos or like a perfectly playing Genos realizes he gets that kill on you, he should have pushed you and you should have died. So, but you lived, so you're a liver. Fuck it, you know? Oh, your math assignment. Well, yeah, it did actually. I realized that I only had a couple questions left on the assignment, but they were questions I didn't understand at all. But I ended up figuring them out. It took me like an hour still for 2 questions, but for 40 minutes. Whatever. It wasn't bad. It wasn't that bad. How you doing, Em? Nice. Your ROM is going to point yet again. Great wall. Great ulti. Could have actually pre-ulted that. The min-max there, you played that perfectly. Don't get me wrong. But there, you know Tyra's going to push your ass, right? So right here, you're already ulting. You would have saved you a little bit of damage taken, but that's it. It's really not important. Is ROM healer ROM? Oh my god, it is. What the fuck? It's a subservience ROM. What the fuck? What the fuck? Kind of wasted. I want to address that, what somebody said in chat. I don't think you actually wasted time. What time are we at? 21:06. I'm going to address that real quick, just for everybody else. I don't think you actually wasted time here on your mount. I think this was okay. I actually think you on mount here is just going for info. You're trying to figure out what exactly is happening. You're peeking corners, and then you hear something being pushed over here, so you run over here. So right there, that was an info play on your mount. Right there, you were just getting info. So I think that's okay. I'm okay with that. Back to where we were. Making the wrong choice. Yeah. I get that. I totally get that. I don't think you really wasted time. That much time. Okay, where's your healer here? You might have broke line of sight on your healer. I actually don't know where your IO is. Is she high ground? This is what I was saying, like making sure you know where your healer is. Here you're under a ton of pressure, but at some point when you're coming around this corner here, you can take a second and look to see where she's at. And just make sure you give her line of sight. Did she just respawn? Oh yeah, she did. Okay. I'm an idiot then. Ignore me. That'll happen. I'm dumb sometimes. I'll admit that, alright? How have they not capped? What is happening this game? I like this. You instantly put pressure on Ashe. You actually, like, I want to say you made a weird play, but you actually made a good play there. I'm not going to lie. I want to look through that to see. So, like, technically what you could have done here, if you're going to play against the Drogos and you're going to try to, you don't want, like, you know he's close to you. So you actually make the right choice in dying here in the middle of the open. You walk into the middle of the open, subconsciously or not, you walk into the middle of the open to get hit by the Drogos. You know you are going to get hit. So you are now in a position where your team can trade Drogos easily. So I don't know if that wall was necessary up front, like where you put it, but I do think you actually made the perfect play getting hit by this in the middle of the open. And that's for all tanks out there. When you're gonna get hit by a Drogosalt, do it in the middle of the open.
Keep guard.
Don't try to survive around a corner and wall jump. That's just silly. If the Drogos is far away, then you can try to make a liver play, right? It's possible to live, but there, you actually made the very smart call and just dying in the open. Remember that for the future. That's a very good play you made, even if you didn't mean to. With the wall, I figured that's what you did to block the damage from below. That was a very risky, aggressive play. Yeah, that was a bit of an int, but it's okay. That'll happen. Let me see here. You see Rom's low. I mean, you see Rom's on point, and you play aggressive because you have Earthen Guard. But right as you get to this doorway, now is when you fall back and run back to your team. The play was okay up to that point. Right here, or a little bit before this, like a second before this, you should be falling back. Yo, Rom healing OP. I've never tried Subservience, I'm not gonna lie. So, the idea behind the play was okay, but you overcommitted. But I do like the general idea. You have Mother's Grace and you try to play an aggressive on a DPS to pressure them out. Let me guess, they win this point. Like I said, this game goes 3-1, 3-2, 3-3, right? How long we got? Yeah, most definitely it does. Okay. There's nothing you can do here. That's just how it is. That's just how that point fight's gonna go there. You go Rejuve 3. You still don't know what to buy. So like your last item choices here, 100% are Resi or Master Riding. Haven could be good. There's nothing wrong with getting Haven here. But I think you go 2 levels of Haven rather than Chronos 3. Yeah, that Connell, you're already dead there, so why he shouldn't even ult there. Some people don't have the awareness though to understand when you're gonna win or lose. I'm gonna buy Nimble. Oh, Nimble, that's a good point, Doggo. I'm glad you're here, chat. Nimble's also a decent buy here because you're playing against a Tyra Fire. 100%. Nimble's a very good buy here, actually. But so is Resi. That's why I don't think the Chronos was a good buy. Because there's a lot of like lower, cheaper items that you could have got maxed out that could help. I don't know. I'm very indifferent on Chronos on Inara, but I don't play Inara a ton, so I don't. I'd have to like ask somebody who actually mains Inara to know how efficient it can be. You're thinking about the items based on your build. You're like, I'll take more DR. Yeah, good call. The Haven's a solid buy. I think Master Riding, Haven, or Nimble here, all good buys. Chronos is big, is it? Yeah. Did learn about it. We go buy from a tire main to buy Nimble. Yeah, Nimble is actually super important. I didn't even think about Nimble for some reason. Yeah, you're definitely right, Consulting. I do, like, I would like to have that item slot opened up or a nimble or a resilience, but I mean, it's a good buy still. But I like how you stopped at Chronos 2. Like, Chronos 3 is a bit too pricey for when you need this many items, you know? Okay, you're not doing much here. I mean, I think here you just, well, that's the worst Connell I've ever seen. That's unfortunate for their team. I was gonna say, I think here, you and Rom are point stacking. And because the way this Rom's playing, it's not really your fault. But right here, you see them push. I think you just start walking at them. Because what you and Rom are doing right now is saying, hey, go kill my backline. We're going to chill here, right? So right now, you should be going to get in their face or put yourself to the right here where my mouse is and making them look at you rather than, yeah. You're staying. See, the thing is on defense, though, you don't have to stay on the payload. Staying on payload here doesn't really do anything. What does more is holding space and making sure they don't, back cap. See, the idea of back capping is okay when the payload is like here on the bar, but here it doesn't matter. If they put somebody on point, really, it's actually useless because they're not pushing. Right now, what they need to push this payload is space, not somebody on the payload. What's more important for them right now is to push up, kill your team, and then get on payload. So what you need to prevent as a tank early on is holding space and making sure they cannot take that space. So right now you need to be holding over here or like on the right side even, or up here on the left side. I don't know if you can see my mouse well. Here, you have to put some sort of body in front of them and your team. But does Inara here? It actually does more than you think, Darth Maul. It forces her right click if she's lifted above her wall or she's lifted up, because she'll have to pop Mother's Grace, which is sometimes a waste if you want to save your cooldown. So yeah, I think very importantly there, the payload doesn't matter.
I should spend my credits.
And you put yourself between them and your team to hold space so they can't take space. But I do want to preface that and say what you're doing is good for when the payload is closer to actually about to go into and win, right? Towards the end of a push and they're close to pushing in, then you staying on payload's okay. Ash is lagging. Very good Mother's Grace early. You're booped into the fidget spinner. Great wall. 10 out of 10 play there. Literally min-maxed to a T. Well fucking played. That was all you right there. All you. Oh. Poor Rom. Actually, one interesting play there you could have made. If you knew where dog was, and it's the same thing with Inara. Here, you know dog's going to point. You could actually, you hear this? And you back up behind the dog and make him hit the dog instead of you. Because that Drogo's ult can hit dog and kill dog instead of a person. So if you and Rom both stood around the dog, it would have just hit the dog. Or the fox. Sorry, Chad, it's a fox. Interesting thing there. Same thing with Ying clones. If you're getting Drogo's ulted, you could look for Ying clones too. Because they eat Drogo's ults. Nice, you're just chilling on payload. There's no reason to be doing anything here besides capping. Io should not be on point. They're way too pushed up. And Io needs to be safe here. Great wall, stop some damage. Great, you should have been pre-ulting, though. Here, you should have got that off a little bit sooner. Yeah, if you get this off a little bit sooner, actually, there's a chance they don't touch. So it seems like you're a little bit hesitant to use your ult sometimes, but you just need to rip that shit. Like that 1 second hesitation, the same thing with what I talked about earlier on Point Fight, with the Tyra pushing around the wall, you just need to fucking rip that ulti. And like no hesitation, no downtime. I see what you're trying to do is put the slow up, but there was a little bit of downtime there where I think it could have been min-maxed. But still, even though they got OT, it's fine. Like you guys still win it, but that was just a min-max play there. I just think you need to pop that ult more often and faster. Just something to think about. And again, min-maxing, you guys still won the point, so it didn't matter. But point tank is literally all about the min-max. So yeah, Biggest takeaways. One, on pushes, especially early on, you need to play more aggressive. You need to get in their face. You need to pop your right click, and you need to just go at them and be a bully. You'll have to learn how to be a bully on Inara and on some point tanks. Very important play there. Very important and does a ton for your team. The second thing was popping your ulti more often and not hesitating. No hesitation on it. Just fucking rip it. Start ripping ultis. As soon as you get them, just like throw them out until you start learning how to use them. Even though you're going to have shit ultis, you'll learn from the shit ultis. That's one thing Bitey always preached, and that's one thing I preach too. Just use the ulti, but if it's a shit ulti, know why it was bad and then learn for it for next time. It's the same thing with like limit testing. If you want to play aggressive on a support, you have to realize what you do wrong. If you're limit testing, you have to have an understanding and not blame other people, right? But you know, I hold my ulti a bit too often nowadays because I try to min-max it too much and I should be using it more, so I do the same thing. But yeah. And then cooldown usage got way better towards the end. Do another VOD review? Yes, we're gonna do checks. So, Honka, I hope that helped. Let me know what you think in the chat and see if I can do anything else to help you, or like I could have said anything else, or like what you think. Hopefully it helped. But yeah.